There are people walking around with hearts that no longer beat. They're not dead. Death is far too noble for what happened to them. But they have collapsed inwards. You see them everywhere. In trains, behind desks, in grocery stores. They laugh. Yes, they speak. But it is a ventriloquist's illusion. Their eyes betray the truth. Something inside them is missing. Children are the last prophets of Earth. They wake up without masks, without roles. They say things like, "I want to be a moon catcher," and mean it. They are not yet ashamed of wanting too much. They run toward things that adults have already decided are impossible. They dance in the rain because they do not yet believe in sickness. They cry loudly in public because they still trust the world will listen. But then comes the great betrayal. The betrayal begins not with cruelty, but with concern. "Don't waste your time," they say. "You need to be realistic," they warn. "Be a doctor. Be an engineer, play safe, dream small, ask less." And the child, who once thought stars were gods and mountains were sleeping giants, begins to kneel before a new altar, the God of what is practical. It is not the dream that dies. It is the child that kills it with their own hands to survive in the desert of adulthood. They learn to wear suits instead of capes. They learn to answer instead of ask. They are alive, but they are dead. The artist who once drew galaxies on napkins now stares at spreadsheets with eyes like graveyards. The poet who used to scribble verses in notebooks now scrolls through phone screens, mouthing half-hearted opinions. The boy who built time machines out of cardboard now drives the same route to the same office 5 days a week, waiting for something to change. Why is it that when children talk to imaginary friends, we call it creativity, but when adults dream of a better life, we call it delusion? Why is it noble for a child to want to change the world, but pathetic for an adult to still believe he can? It is not the dreamer who is naive. It is the realist who is blind. Because realism has become a synonym for surrender, a velvet-wrapped coffin that smells like comfort but reeks of decay. The tragedy is not that people fail to reach their dreams. The tragedy is that they stop reaching. They fold their wings not because they are broken, but because they were told they do not deserve to fly. And when the sky becomes something to fear, the soul becomes something to silence. But let me tell you this, even a folded ear can still hear music. Even a broken voice can sing. And even if I never find the end of the rainbow, I would rather die chasing it than live under a ceiling painted gray by other people's fear. I will follow it. I'm not delusional, but I remember what it felt like to believe. I remember what it felt like to be alive without apology, to want and not be ashamed, to ask without worrying if the answer exists, to be a child who looked at the sky and saw home. You're alive. Your blood moves. Your lungs rise and fall. Your fingers touch glass and water and air. But if your soul no longer sings, if your days blur into one long hallway of repetition, if you have not wondered in weeks, if you have not created, believed, or chased something irrational in months, then forgive me when I say, you are alive, but you are dead. And I made this to haunt you just enough to wake you. Because the world doesn't need more corpses. It needs madmen who still believe in stars. It needs you. The you who asked, where does the rainbow end and never stopped running.